Welcome to What the Fork Wednesday, where the stories are wild, the reactions are real, and the chaos, honey, the chaos practically writes itself. If you walked in here hoping for calm, you've already made your first mistake. Buckle up. Today is the day we dive into the kind of insanity that makes you whisper, "What the fork is wrong with people?" All right, y'all, come on in, get comfortable. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your soda, your emotional support snack, whatever you think you need, because today is What the Fork Wednesday. That's right, I said it. What the fork? And let me tell you something. This midweek energy already feels like the whole universe woke up. Absolute chaos. Okay, it shows chaos and handed me a stack of stories hotter than a skillet left on high. Now, before we jump into this tornado of nonsense, let me set the tone for all the new folks who might be strolling in wondering what kind of show they just clicked on. Ask a Bee is where we laugh, we learn, we roast, we heal, we sometimes, only sometimes, we clutch our pearls and ask, Lord, why me? Why today? Why this level of stupidity? And believe me, the stories we've got lined up today have a questioning amount of things I used to think were solid, like, common sense, basic manners, and well, whether or not people actually listen when life is trying to teach them a lesson. So now here's the beauty of what the Fork Wednesday is. This is the one day a week where we don't hold back. Well, we hold YouTube back, but we don't hold back. This isn't Truth Teller Tuesday, okay, where we unpack the emotional suitcase. This isn't the Circle Back Now Friday. I'll tell y'all that soon. Where we tie a pretty bow on the week. No, not doing that today, baby. Today is the day we open the door, see a mess, and instead of cleaning it up, we're going to pull up a chair, grab a notebook, and say, all right, what the fork is this? Yeah. We laugh not because it's mean, okay, but because it's healing. We poke fun because sometimes the only way to survive the madness of humanity without losing your mind is laughing, okay? And you know what? Laughter is therapy, especially when the story ain't yours. Seriously. Okay, so let me tell you, this community, all right, y'all are something else. Every story you send in, every letter, every moment of absolute heart stopping, brain breaking foolery you trust me to read, I don't take that lightly. Okay. You let me into your chaos, your comedy, right? Your wild family drama, your workplace nightmares, your petty victories, your irrational arguments, kitchen catastrophes, your why me moments, right? Yeah. Okay. I take all of that and turn it into a little midweek joy because y'all, you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. So if you're new here, welcome into the hive. Around here, it's okay if life doesn't make sense. It's okay if you've had days where you look around and wonder if you're the only sane person left. And it's really okay if your story starts with, I know this sounds crazy, but those are my favorite, y'all. Because on What the Fork Wednesday, that's just the opening line of a normal conversation. It is. Now, get ready, okay? Because I need a drink first. Ha! See what I did there? Work that right in there. Okay. Get ready because the letters we're starting with today, ooh, honey, I previewed them and I had to set them down twice just to process this. Both of them. Seriously. They got drama, confusion, energy. They got everything except for the thing that these writers should have had from the very beginning, which is probably a moment of silence to ask themselves why the fork they were involved in this mess to begin with. And yes, I've got thoughts. You already know. So welcome in. Okay. Grab your spot, settle your spirit, and get ready to holler, gasp, cringe, laugh, shake your head, and maybe even reevaluate your own life decisions. Who we got in here this morning? Happy Wednesday, plus sister. I'm so happy to see you, honey. Thank you for being here. You might like this one today. We're going to go funny. This is What the Fork Wednesday. I said it. It's pretty close, but it's not the real deal. So, YouTube. So, baby, we're just getting started. Alrighty. You know, I've started this thing before we slide head first into those What the Fork story or letters. We're going to do a What the Fork story from me. Yeah, I can't say that too fast. I'm going to lose myself on that one. If I drop an F-bomb, it was not intentional. Dear Lord, forgive me. Okay, I need to prepare your spirit a little bit because what we're about to read is not something you can jump into cold. No. This kind of story requires a warm-up because if I just dropped it on you without warning, half of y'all would be in the chat typing in all caps, B, what even is this? Okay? Or what the fork, obviously. And honestly, you'd be right. See, the thing about What the Fork Wednesday is that these stories don't sneak up on you. They kick down your door like they're late for an audition on a reality TV show, okay? You don't just read them, you experience them. They grab your eyebrows, lift them up over your forehead, and make you question the quality of people's decision-making skills. And today's story, honey. Yes, you know I love my bee honey. But this one took me on a little journey of my own. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first skimmed it, I made a sound I didn't even know came out of me. I sat there with my coffee halfway to my mouth, just frozen, looking like I just saw a raccoon wearing sunglasses and driving a golf cart. That level of confusion, that level of, my brain literally rebooted like Windows 98. Okay. Here's what I've learned. Whenever a story starts with, now B, I swear I'm not making this up, it means they are absolutely about to tell me something they should have kept between themselves, their therapist, and the nearest diary with a lock on it. Hide that key, okay? Because when people try to convince you that they're not lying before they even start, maybe something unhinged is on the way, okay? And look, I'm not judging. I'm really not, because all of us have had those moments where we make a decision and immediately hear God whisper, "You're sure about that? Are you sure?" But some folks don't hear the whisper. They don't hear the shout. They don't hear the bullhorn. Okay. They just keep right on going. Like life is a treasure hunt, and the clues are written in invisible ink. But that's exactly why y'all come here, right? Because on What the Fork Wednesday, we take those stories, shake the confusion out of them, sprinkle a little bit of humor, and actually learn something. I hope. Usually what not to do, but I hope. So go ahead, get yourself mentally stretched, roll your shoulders back, crack your knuckles, unclench your jaw, because the story that we're about to dive into, pure, unfiltered, YouTube filtered, premium grade, What the Fork energy. All right, y'all, lean in. Let's get into this one. You're going to love it. Seriously. All right. First, What the Fork story of the day. Because this one right here had me questioning gravity, physics, the entire family tree. Okay. So this letter is different, and I'm reading a letter for this one because I couldn't find one chaotic enough. But this letter comes from someone who signs off as stressed and blessed in Baton Rouge. And honestly, by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why both of those words belong in the same sentence. B, I need your help before I say something I can't take back to my cousin. See, don't start a letter like that, man. Oh, and here's the worst second line to come with. I love her, I really do, but I swear this girl lives on a different planet. Okay, I got some of those. Last week, she asked to borrow my car to run a quick errand. Now, I already know those 4 words are a lie, but I was trying to be nice. She showed up at my house with this big Tupperware container of homemade banana pudding, like a peace offering. She's standing in my kitchen looking at me with those big puppy eyes, talking about, cousin, I just need it for a couple of hours, I promise. I should have said no. B, I knew better. But the banana pudding was still warm and I folded. I handed her my keys. That was the biggest mistake of my week. Uh, First of all, let me just pause right here and say if the Holy Spirit, your common sense, and your last 3 experiences with someone all say no, the only thing saying yes is warm banana pudding, lady, that's a trap. Okay. That is not an errand. That is a test. All right, back to the letter. Look, she leaves my house around 11 in the morning. Noon passes, 1 o'clock passes, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. No cousin, no car, no text, no nothing. I start texting her like, hey, everything okay? No response. I call her. It goes to voicemail. At this point, I'm pacing my living room because I know my cousin. She is not responsible. She is the type of person who can lose a shoe while she's wearing it. Wow. Okay, I knew I should have trusted my gut, and yet here we are. Finally, around 6 in the evening, she calls me sounding out of breath like she just finished running from the cops, the mailman, and the rent office all at once. You already know when somebody waits a full 7 hours to call you back and starts with heavy breathing, nothing good is about to follow. They are not calling to say thank you. She says, cousin, don't get mad, but something happened. Oh my gosh. I almost hung up right there because anytime someone starts a sentence with don't get mad, they absolutely did something you should get mad about. True. So true. I take a deep breath and I say, what happened? She says, okay, so the car is fine, but I can't find your keys. Now, y'all, I had to set the phone down for a second when I read, or the letter down for a second when I read that. Guys, come on. Okay, so the car is fine, but the keys are missing. How does that even work? Did the car teleport itself into park and decide it was done for the day? Okay, so she tells me she went to 3 different places, met up with somebody named Scooter, went out to eat, stopped by another cousin's house, picked up laundry, and then somehow ended up at a park. But she swears she never took the keys out of her pocket. This was supposed to be a quick errand. I said, how did you do all of that and never think to tell me my car was on a city tour? She just kept saying, cousin, it wasn't that serious. Not that serious, ma'am. You drove this woman's car through a side quest, a bonus level, and an optional boss fight and didn't think it was serious? Oh my gosh. Okay. She sends me a pin and asks me to meet her where she is. I guess pin means on Google. To meet her where she is so we can find or we can figure it out. I show up. It's a gas station parking lot. My car's sitting there parked crooked like it tried to get in the lines and gave up halfway. She is leaning against it, eating a bag of flaming hot Cheetos like this is just another Wednesday. And I asked her, where are the keys? She shrugs and says, I told you, cousin, they disappeared. Wow. Disappeared like they're on FBI's missing list. Okay. Right. Wow. I am trying to stay calm. I spend 2 hours walking around that gas station, checking the ground, checking the trash can, going back inside, retracing the steps she barely remembers. Nothing, no keys. Finally, I asked her, are you sure you didn't leave them somewhere else? She gets real serious and says, cousin, I think they fell into a wormhole. A wormhole. a cosmic event at this point. I don't even blame the devil. This is her. Okay. I just stared at her. I said, a wormhole? She said, yeah, like in those space movies. Things fall through portals sometimes. Like my car keys are out here doing interdimensional travel. I wanted to scream, but I was too tired. I call a locksmith. He says he can be there in about an hour and a half. In the meantime, she's still eating Cheetos and scrolling on her phone like this is all just mildly inconvenient. I'm the one stressing, and it's not even her car. See, this is where my spirit would have left my body. The locksmith finally shows up around 9 at night. He looks at the car, looks at us, and you can tell he's already decided we're not getting a discount. He tells me it's going to be $275 to unlock and program a new key. I look at my cousin and she suddenly remembers her wallet is at home somewhere. Convenient. So now I'm the one paying to fix a problem she created with her magical wormhole theory. He gets to work, opens the car, and starts shining his flashlight around to get the information that he needs. He leans down on the passenger side, reaches under the seat, and says, "Ma'am, are these your keys?" Wow. I wanted the concrete to open up and swallow me. The keys were under the passenger seat the whole time, the whole day, through all the drama, all the walking, all the wormholes, right there. He holds them up, and my cousin has the nerve to say, "Oh, look at that. Maybe the wormhole spit them back out." Oh, good Lord. At this point, I would have started a GoFundMe for my sanity. Baby girl, I would have too. You know what? I may do that today myself. I paid the locksmith because what else could I do? We drive my car back to the house, and all I can think about is how much time, money, and mental energy I just lost over something that could have been solved if she had simply bent down and looked. The next morning, I wake up to a text from her. "B, this girl really typed, cousin, I still didn't get to run my errand. Can I borrow the car again today?" I put my phone down, walked into the kitchen, poured my coffee, and just stared at the wall. I have not replied yet. I don't trust myself to answer without saying something that might end up in the relationship forever. Am I being dramatic if I tell her she can never borrow my car again? Am I wrong for needing space from this level of foolishness? How do I say no without starting a family war? Signed, Stressed and Blessed in Baton Rouge. Now listen. Oh my goodness, honey. Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is a different level of crazy for me, I think. Listen, let me just go ahead and say this on behalf of the entire universe. Cousin is never touching that car again. Okay. Not in this lifetime, not in the next lifetime, not in the multiverse she thinks those keys traveled through. Because this wasn't an honest mistake. This was a full, avoidable, preventable, stick your head in the sand situation wrapped up in Cheeto dust and excuses. Y'all, we are absolutely going to get into this in a minute, okay? Because I have some things about boundaries, access, and how many chances you give somebody before you recognize they are not just careless. They are sponsored by chaos, okay? But that, my loves, is why this story is our very first official What the Fork moment of the day. Because there are poor decisions. There are bad habits. And then there is looking at lost keys and blaming a wormhole. Y'all, I don't even know how to. I don't have an answer for this one. I just needed y'all to hear that mess. Seriously. That's the best answer I got. That is what the fork. Right? Oh, my goodness. All right. Take a breath with me after that one, because that was some chaos. Lord knows what else is lurking out there waiting to test our patience today. But here we go. We're not done yet. Not even close. because it's time for the Bless Your Heart segment. And yes, this is usually the chaos segment, but I think that took the cake. That's why I read that one first. So, listen, if you're new around here, let me help you out real quick. When a Southern woman says, bless your heart, she's not praying for you. She's giving you a gentle little verbal pat on the head because whatever you're dealing with is either so ridiculous, so backwards, or so avoidable that we have crossed the line into spiritual comedy. This is where compassion meets confusion, and it tries absolute best to stay gracious. Really. And I swear, okay, every single week, y'all send me letters that make me stop mid sip of my coffee and just stare at the screen like, oh, honey, no. Yeah, I like that word, honey. And yet here I am, loving every minute of this because it's part of the show where we can get real, right? These things happen, and people need to know they're not the only ones. This is the moment where denial starts melting away. Okay, the truth starts bubbling up like a pot that you forgot was on simmer, right? And we finally get down to what's really happening behind the scenes of these really wild stories that you send me. Now, today's Blessed Your Heart letter, when I say it arrived already sweating, I mean the email had humidity. Okay. This one came in hot, like it knew it wasn't asking for advice so much as asking for someone to validate what they weren't, or that they weren't losing their mind. And let's be honest. Okay. Sometimes that's all a person really wants. Not a fix, not a lecture, not a 10-step plan, just a witness to the madness, right? Someone to look at the situation and go, no, baby, you're not crazy. This really is as backwards as it feels. Look, what I love most about this segment, though, is how often these letters hit that universal nerve, right? Everybody can find a little piece. Oh, man, I know that. Yeah, I know that. The moment where we recognize ourselves in someone else's mess, because life doesn't always come at us with the big dramatic stuff. Well, it can be priceless. You can find your answer here. A comment, a habit, a boundary that keeps getting stepped on, a relationship that you've, I don't know, been holding together with a prayer, tape, maybe some wishful thinking. This is where we dig into the situations that poke the soft spots, the places we avoid, because facing them requires honesty and vulnerability, and sometimes even admitting we stayed too long at the table we were never meant to sit at, right? Today, as we move into this bless your heart moment, I want y'all to listen with both your ears and your spirit, because this one is layered. It's got a little bit of family, a sprinkle of guilt, a dash of obligation, and a whole lot of emotional tug of war. It's one of those letters where you can feel the writer twisting themselves into a pretzel, trying to do right by everybody but themselves. And if that hit you just now, well, bless your heart, because I know that feeling too. All right, let's go ahead. Open up this letter before the chat starts shouting at me, because trust me, you're going to want to hear this one. Now, I think I'll need a drink for this. Pardon me. All right, dear B, girl, I need you to take a deep breath before you read this, because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of story that makes Jesus close the blinds and say, not tonight. So, B, last weekend, my Aunt Cheryl hosted what she called a simple backyard barbecue. What she failed to mention was that she has recently gotten deep into self-sufficiency TikTok, and apparently she thinks that means setting the neighborhood on fire. Wow, okay. It all started when she decided to slow roast a rack of ribs using nothing but a magnifying glass, a bag of charcoal, and the power of intention. That sounds scary already. B, she set the grill on top of her trampoline because she wanted the heat to circulate. I begged her not to. She said, trust the process. I did not, but the trampoline sure did because the whole thing lit up like a Pentecostal Sunday. Before I could even call 911, my cousin Jerome, who is on probation and thinks he's an inventor, rolled out with a fire extinguisher filled with Kool-Aid. He said, don't worry, family. I saw this on YouTube. It did not put out the fire. It caramelized it. The trampoline turned into a giant brulee. Meanwhile, my Aunt Cheryl is screaming that this is a sign from the ancestors and starts tossing corn cobs at the flames like she's trying to bless them. Her wig flew off and landed in the kiddie pool, which promptly melted because the water had heating tablets in it, because apparently the kids wanted spa vibes. The second the pool melted, the neighborhood feral cat, his name is Kevin for reasons I do not understand, launched himself into the air, landed on the flaming trampoline, realized immediately that he had made a grave tactical error, and ricocheted off like a cartoon. He took down 2 lawn chairs, a citronella candle, and my Uncle Harold's plate of deviled eggs. That's not bad. Okay, I haven't even gotten to the worst part. You're kidding me. The fire department arrived again because this is the 3rd time this month. The fire captain didn't even get off the truck. He just yelled, Cheryl, what did you do now? Like he was her disappointed stepdad. And then the trampoline spring snapped from the heat, launching the grill into the air like a NASA test flight. The ribs went flying. One landed on my neighbor's windshield and stuck there like a fleshy suction cup. Another slapped me in the face, and one landed on the fire captain's boot. Do you know what he said? Let's see if I can say this without, yeah. He said, at least it's seasoned better than last time. Please. Me, I'm writing you now because my family is banned from buying charcoal until 2027, and I am pretty sure Kevin the cat has PTSD. My whole neighborhood smells like smoked catastrophe, and my Aunt Cheryl is planning a do-over cookout this Saturday. Help me be signed. I'm sorry. This is so funny. Traumatized, but still hungry. Y'all, that's crazy mess. That is a crazy mess. Let me settle into this one for a second because this one deserves more than a quick chuckle and a blessing. Okay. A big blessing, a really, really big blessing. I'm going to talk to you the way your favorite auntie would talk to you, like, while she's cooking, stirring pot with one hand and pointing at you with the other one, because the situation you just found yourself in, Lord help us, that wasn't just an awkward grocery store moment or something. Okay, that was a whole spiritual obstacle course, and you didn't even know you were signing up for cardio today, right? Look, let's start with the fact that you weren't even trying to be involved. You were minding your own business, pushing your cart, probably thinking your dinner or bills or that one thing that you forgot thaw in the sink. You weren't looking for adventure. You were looking for drama. No, you weren't. You weren't even looking at anyone sideways. You were just existing, okay? And somehow in the cosmic lottery of the universe, you got chosen as the unwilling co-star in this woman's personal meltdown with a chicken that had already lived, died, been seasoned, cooked, packaged, priced, and placed under a heat lamp. Okay? That's the part that already got me hollering. Because only you, bless your heart, only you could be standing there minding your own beeswax and still end up drafted into someone else's poultry-based emotional crisis, right? Let's really talk about this woman for just a minute, okay? I'm afraid to. I'm going to be nice. I will be nice. This is not her first time causing chaos. You know that as well as I do. You don't wake up one random Tuesday and suddenly decide that a rotisserie chicken has wronged you. Okay? No, 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 no. The level of unhinged takes practice. That woman has a hobby. Her hobby is being dramatic in public, period. She went to the grocery store looking for a moment. She walked in there ready to argue with anybody, children, cashiers, carts, produce, anything with a face, anything without a face. Okay. And the second that she felt even slightly inconvenienced by the universe, she zeroed in on the one item incapable of fighting back, the fully cooked lemon pepper chicken. Now, when I tell you that that chicken did not ask for any of this, I mean it. It wasn't even making eye contact. It got no eyes. No eyes. Okay. It was just sitting there in this plastic sauna container, sweating and minding its own afterlife. Okay. And here she comes projecting all her life feature or failures onto a bird that has been dead longer than her last relationship has been alive. Okay, she wasn't mad at the chicken, baby. She was not mad at that chicken. She was mad at life itself. Tell me I'm wrong. And the chicken was the only thing polite enough not to interrupt her. You know it's true. Come on. And then she decides the best way to resolve her personal war with poultry is by bringing you into it. Not an employee, not a manager, not someone who works there. You. Because crazy people love a neutral party, right? Come on. They love someone who looks like they won't escalate the situation. They love someone who looks like they have empathy. They love someone who looks like they make the mistake of making eye contact for more than 3 feet away. And baby, God bless you. You radiate, I am a nice person who will listen. That makes you a magnet for madness. Amen. You didn't ask for it, but it found you anyway, baby. And I'm so sorry for that, really. Let's pause right here for a second, okay? Because I want to really acknowledge your restraint. Okay. You are better than I am because I'm Texas. You know how it is here. There is a version of you, the tired version, okay, the hungry version, the version who forgot breakfast, hasn't had coffee yet, that would have looked at a woman and said, ma'am, I don't speak chicken. But instead, you tried. You tried to be polite. You tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, right? You tried to figure out whether there was some misunderstanding or maybe she meant something else. That's your heart doing its most, right? And bless it, because if it were me, I would have been pretending I didn't hear English or something, because I got to walk away from that mess. Be in the moment that she said the chicken was mocking her, baby, I know your soul left your body for half a second at least. Mocking her? A chicken mocking her. Are you kidding me? That's not the deli section. That's a doctor's appointment. That's a therapist. That's medication. That is not the responsibility of a $6.99 protein. Okay? Look, the part that absolutely takes me out of this. She wanted to return it. Return it after eating some of it. Baby, that means she went home, opened it, pulled pieces off of it, put it on a plate, chewed it, swallowed it, lived her life, contemplated her choices, and then she decided the chicken had an attitude problem. Yeah, that isn't a return. y'all. That's a hostage negotiation. And the poor employee, oh, I felt that. You could see the exact moment that their will to live just clocked out and left them alone with all y'all. They didn't get paid enough to manage poultry-based emotional damage. And then you, unwillingly, unprepared, unequipped, undeserving, got put in the position of mediator between a woman and her leftover protein. Seriously, you handled it with grace. You didn't laugh. You didn't roll your eyes. You didn't pull out your phone and record it for TikTok. I would have. You handled it like the adult in the room because clearly you were the only adult there. And that right there, that's why I am blessing your heart today, honey. You were placed in a ridiculous situation, a sitcom plot with no studio audience, and you still managed to choose peace. That's called growth. That's called maturity. That's called I am too old for this nonsense. But here we go again. Let me offer you some truth here, though. Okay, crazy like that is a spiritual test. You know it. When the universe hands you someone arguing with a chicken, it is checking your patience, your self-control, your sanity, and your ability to not get dragged into someone else's chaos. Now, you passed, okay? We passed. It's done. You didn't catch the crazy. You didn't absorb her energy. You didn't let her pull you into her fantasy world where poultry has opinions and deli counters are battlegrounds, right? You stayed you. So here's my final blessing for you, honey. Bless your heart for choosing peace when chaos tried to crown you a queen, okay? Bless your heart for surviving someone else's meltdown without catching an emotional shrapnel. Bless your heart for recognizing that sometimes people ain't mad at the thing they're yelling at. They're mad at life. And the chicken just happened to be the only one who couldn't talk back. Bless your heart for writing this down, okay? Because I swear to you, this is exactly why this show exists, okay? Without people like that walking around free, we wouldn't have anything to talk about on What the Fork Wednesday, y'all. Crazy mess. Crazy mess. All right. I'm going to have me another drink. That was a long one. That was a good one, though. You got to breathe, people. Just breathe with me, would you? Breathe. All right. Here we go again. Now, this is the gravel road. And while this is usually, the tear jerker, it's not going to be. At least, I don't think it is. But this one is our gravel road segment. And one dry wall patch away from losing my religion. Yep. All right, y'all. Now that we've laughed ourselves breathless, because I'm telling you, I'm sitting over here trying to breathe and survive the chaos of What the Fork Wednesday, bless your heart letter, it's time to take things down a different road. It's the gravel one, of course. The one I'm talking about, the road that rattles your car, shakes your cup holder, makes your GPS question its life choices, and forces you to slow down because speeding will literally send you into a ditch on a gravel road. Yeah. Seriously. The part of this show, okay, this is where we stop cackling long enough to check our emotional tire pressure. And let me tell you, after the week I know some of y'all have had, those tires are bald, not worn, bald, y'all. Showing threads like a Walmart lawn chair in July. The gravel road is where the truth isn't funny anymore. It's useful. It's grounding. It's uncomfortable in that good way, like the kind of advice you don't want to hear, but absolutely needed because somebody had to say it before life said it the hard way. And what I love about this part, okay, is that nobody comes down a gravel road unless they're ready to face something real. You don't accidentally end up on one, okay? You choose it. You turn onto it, knowing the ride is going to be bumpy, knowing the dust is going to kick up, knowing that there is no smooth asphalt to glide on. But you go anyway, because sometimes the most important conversations don't happen on the polished streets, okay? They happen right where it's rough, uneven, and honest. Sometimes a pothole is exactly what you need. Seriously. So this is the place where pride drops out of the passenger seat and ego climbs into the trunk. This is where you can't pretend anymore because the road forces you to slow down and hear yourself think. Now listen, this is not a place for performance, okay? This isn't a place for drama. This isn't a place to dress your pain up in humor like we do in the earlier segments, okay? The gravel road is where we talk about the things you don't post on social media. The things that, they sit heavy on your chest at night, the things you don't tell your mama or your best friend or even the people you love because you don't want to worry them or embarrass them or admit that the strong one needs help too, right? But baby, even the strongest people have to pull over sometimes before the engine overheats. Even you. No, especially you. Okay? So as we turn into this gravel road together, take a breath, unclench your shoulders, let the laughter settle so your heart can actually hear what it needs to hear. Because the letter coming up next, this is someone standing right at the edge of something difficult. Someone who needs softness and truth in the same sentence. And also someone who's not asking for perfection, just perspective. And that's why we do this part, to put our feet back on solid ground after the madness. Gravel might shake you, but it'll steady you too. Okay. Let's just see what's waiting for us on this road today. Okay. You'll understand in a moment. I have to have a drink. Okay. Dear B, I need help before I end up on the evening news because my life has decided to turn into a full-blown circus without asking my permission. See, I know everybody can say been there, done that. I'm not talking about regular chaos. No spilled coffee, no flat tire, not even the usual my boss is allergic to competence type of nonsense. I know that one. Not you, boss man. Totally not you. Not talking about you. I swear to God. I'm talking about a level of crazy that feels spiritual, like the Lord took his hands off the wheel for 1 second and my life immediately swerved into the twilight zone. So let me start here. All right, honey, let's go. Let me get comfortable for this one. My neighbor, who I swear has the energy of a raccoon that's been drinking espresso, decided that last week he is now a self-taught wildlife rehabilitator. I didn't ask questions. I minded my business because I thought, okay, maybe he found a baby squirrel or a pigeon with a limp, whatever. No, this man brought home a full-grown emu, not a chicken, not a duck, an emu, a dinosaur bird, a 7-foot feathered demon with legs like a linebacker and the personality of a toddler who skipped a nap. Oh my goodness. And he keeps it in his townhouse next door, sharing a wall with me. Oh Lord. This creature screams, not chirps, not caws. It screams like it's seen things. It runs up and down the stairs so hard my pictures are crooked. And yesterday, and Lord, I wish I was exaggerating, it broke through the shared drywall and stuck its head into my living room. Like a deranged feathered landlord doing a wellness check. I jumped so hard I threw my soup across the room. The emu looked offended, like I interrupted its day. Well, poor emu. Jeez. All right. So naturally, I went next door to tell him, sir, your prehistoric nightmare has joined me for lunch. And he had the nerve, the audacity to say, oh, yeah, Kevin does that when he's feeling social. B, the emu's name is Kevin. Kevin. He named it like it's a CPA, not a flightless demon with violent knees. And here's where it gets worse. He asked me if I could keep Kevin company today while he runs errands because, and I quote, Kevin has separation anxiety. I told him I have my own anxiety and none of it involves babysitting a dinosaur. B, I need you to tell me what to do before this bird takes over the lease because at this point, I'm not sure who the legal tenant is anymore, me or Kevin. Signed, one drywall patch from losing my religion. Honey, I think I'd be more worried about losing something else, like your whole entire mind, right? For real? Good Lord. Maybe sit down and pour yourself something strong because, oh, what I'm about to say is coming from a place of love, honesty, and deep spiritual exhaustion I've ever felt on behalf of another human being. You are living next to a man who has completely surrendered his life, his sanity, and apparently his drywall to a flightless dinosaur named Kevin. What? Are you sure? The fact that you wrote to me and not animal control or, FEMA, the Department of Homeland Security means we have layers to peel back here. Yeah, layers. Okay. Sorry, y'all. This one's going to need some hydration. First, let me acknowledge the sheer magnitude of chaos that you're dealing with here. An emu in a townhouse, in a shared wall townhouse. I want you to understand that you weren't chosen at random, okay? The universe didn't spin a wheel and land on your name. No, it saw your spirit, recognized your patience level, was almost at capacity, and said, let's test that suspension system. Because that is what gravel roads do. They expose every loose bolt in your life. Honey, you are living next to the human embodiment of an unsecured trailer hitch. Yeah. Let me paint this clearly. You are dealing with a grown ass man who looked at a wild ass animal large enough to commit tax fraud and said, yes, this belongs inside my home. That's not eccentric. That's not even quirky. That is a man one minor inconvenience away from inventing his own laws. Okay. People don't wake up one day and casually adopt an emu. Something in their soul has already been fermenting for years. Okay. He didn't find the emu found him. And the worst part, he welcomed it like it was a lost fraternity brother. You got to be kidding me. Let's talk about Kevin breaking through the wall. Baby girl, a bird should not be capable of home invasion. That is not normal, okay? That is not spiritually aligned, okay? That is not a side mission you get in a video game. That is a sign. I don't know what kind of sign, but it's a sign. And the fact that Kevin, the emu, didn't just break the wall, he introduced himself by sticking his head into your living room like a nosy HOA president. That tells me two things. One, Kevin is comfortable. Two, Kevin is bold. That bird walked in like he was coming to check your thermostat settings. And let me tell you something with all the love in my heart, okay? The second an animal breaches the barrier between next door and my home, the animal has declared jurisdiction. Kevin thinks he lives there now. He is exploring the property. He is assessing the layout and he is planning future renovations. That bird is mapping out where he will place his furniture once he realizes your place has better lighting, better food. You marching over to your neighbor's door was already heroic, though, okay? Because the average person would have packed a bag, grabbed the keys, and started a new life in another county. But you, honey, bless you, walked over there like a rational adult. And what does this man do? He calls the emu social, as if this is normal, as if this is something that happens in civilization, as if his giant prehistoric roommate popping through the wall like the Kool-Aid prehistoric roommate, okay? The Kool-Aid man is just a quirky little habit Kevin developed after journaling and therapy, probably. Look, the second that he called that demon bird Kevin, I did. I felt it. I felt your soul leave your body. It just, you cannot give a feral dinosaur a boring human name. Seriously. The moment he named it Kevin, he gave that bird rights, responsibilities, a retirement plan, legal standing. And now Kevin believes he is a citizen. The request to keep Kevin company is where I lost all composure. Yeah. That is the point where your neighbor revealed he is living in a fantasy fully separate from our dimension. Yeah. Because he didn't apologize. He didn't fix the wall. He didn't even offer to reimburse anything. No. He asked you, a civilian, taxpayer, innocent bystander, to babysit a 7-foot, anxiety-ridden, feathered linebacker. I wonder if we can get him on the Cowboys. Sorry. That man has turned you into emotional support for his emotional support dinosaur. That's what's happened, honey. Here's the truth. You came down this gravel road to here. Okay? You don't have an emu problem. You have a liability problem. You have a structural integrity problem. And you have a neighbor whose grip on reality is hanging by dental floss. There is nothing in your lease, your life plan, your spiritual calling that says you are responsible for managing the emotional needs of a bird tall enough to dunk on, shack. Here's the real truth that hits, okay? Pardon me. You cannot reason with someone who thinks they have a healthy co-parenting relationship with an emu. This is not a conversation. Pardon me. This is not a mediation, okay? This is not something you solve with boundaries or gentle communication. This is the situation that requires documentation, witnesses, photographic evidence, and the strength of the Lord, honey. Amen. Your job is not to fix Kevin. Your job is not to fix the neighbor. Your job is to protect your sanity, your home, your wall, and whatever remains of your soup, okay? Here's my advice. Spoken carefully, calmly, and with full gravel road clarity, okay? You need to document everything, every scream, every wall impact, every unauthorized dinosaur visitation. You need to become a historian of chaos, okay? And then when the moment comes when Kevin inevitably decides to renovate again, you hand that file to the manager or the city like, here is the saga of Kevin the wall breaker, and you let them handle that creature. His owner cannot, obviously. Because, baby, you cannot fix a situation that started broken. You cannot negotiate with someone who believes drywall is optional. And you definitely cannot spiritually realign a man who thinks he's Dr. Doolittle with a felony. You can, however, protect your peace. You can set your boundaries. You can laugh because the day this will be on, it will be one of the greatest shows I've ever told. Sorry, it will. Bless your heart, bless your walls, bless Kevin. Okay? Because that bird is on a journey none of us were prepared for. None of us. Not me, not you, not nobody. That's a crazy mess. All right, y'all. We have Lady Diary tonight. I've got a nice little panel going. I'm excited, and I want you to be there. All right. So before I wrap this circus we call the What the Fork Wednesday, let me take a real minute, not the fake polite kind, okay, to talk directly to the folks watching right now. Because if you've made it through the petty, the chaotic, the emu on the loose saga, and the gravel road truth telling, then you're absolutely one of us. And you need to hear this next part with your whole chest, okay? This show doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It grows because of you. The people who show up every day at noon, laughing, shaking your head, clutching your chest, sending in stories that make me question the stability of civilization. Y'all keep the B universe moving. And I don't want you watching passively like you stumbled in by accident. No, baby. You are part of this community now. The good, the wild, the unhinged, and the holy blessed mess. All of it. So here's what I need from you. If you laughed today, even once, hit that like button like you're swatting a mosquito in July, okay? If you caught yourself talking back to the screen, go ahead and share this stream with somebody who needs a break from their own chaos. And if you're sitting there thinking, Lord, I've got a story B needs to hear, then baby, please send it. Send your petty, send your truth, send your gravel road, send your what the actual fork just happened to me. The email is on the ticker, on the screen, and it stays open because I know y'all are living through material every single day. Okay. And while you're at it, make sure you tap into the whole family. The Iron Sharpening Iron universe is moving right alongside of us. And if you aren't watching Big Jack, Walt Talks, Mama Lions, the whole crew, then you're missing half the blessing and all the fun. Those shows are where the grown folks gather. That's where encouragement meets reality and comedy meets conversation. That's where we sharpen each other, love each other, and occasionally hold each other accountable on live air because sometimes the truth needs to be a microphone. Like the bullying going on over there between, Big Jack and Walt Talks, they just bully each other all the time. Just playing. But we're not a channel, not just a channel. We are building a network, a universe, the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. BBTV produces for them. And we do this together. There's no me, there's no you, there's we. Okay. So y'all make sure you go see some of these wonderful spinoffs we got going on. The Gentleman's Journal, Lady's Diary, that's tonight. All of it adds up to something bigger than us. And you being here today means you're part of something in motion, something growing, something with roots and wings that at the same time. If you ever wanted to support something real, something authentic, messy, hilarious, heartfelt, unpredictable, and a little bit holy, baby, this is the place for you. This is the table. This is your seat. And we are so glad that you're here. Now, please, y'all make sure you go over and you subscribe to Big Jack. Make sure that you go over and subscribe to Mama Lions and understand that Big Jack and I, we have memberships. So y'all go ahead and do that too. Now, go ahead and drop a comment letting me know you're alive after the emu fiasco and we're going to try to let the algorithm know we're here to stay. And stay tuned because the next episode, oh baby, it's really shaping up to be absolute chaos for Throwback Thursday. Yeah. So We hit every corner of the map today, from the petty edges to the chaotic mountaintops to the gravel road, all that stuff, right? Before I get out of here, I want you to take 1 second and recognize something. You survived another day of madness. You showed up. You listened. You laughed. You took in the truth. Even when it came wrapped in chaos, that matters. That so matters. It really does. Okay? And that's it for this show, because you know what? I'm ready to go. Listen, we got sirens going off for some reason. It's not even supposed to be raining. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to tell y'all, I got to go. I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.